Thank God it's Friday. Monday's a brand new start. Wednesday, you're halfway home, and Thursday, the weekend's not far. Saturday and Sunday, you hang with your friends. What can you say about Tuesday? Nothing, not a damn thing. Tuesday bites, Tuesday sucks, Tuesday blows, go away. Tuesday's crap, Tuesday's lame, Tuesday's dumb, go away. Tuesday, Saturday and Sunday, you hang with your friends. What can you say about Tuesday?
It's gonna be freaking cold again. Looking at 8 for a high. 9 tomorrow, then we start to inch back up towards 20 degrees on Thursday, into the 20s on Friday, and then by Sunday, and for most of next week, we're looking at temps in the 40s. So I know it sucks right now, but we're turning it around. Getting this thing going in the opposite direction.
A lot of schools are delayed or canceled today, so check on that. No texts for the La Crosse School District as of yet for any delays or anything. But I know throughout the area, Arcadia, there's a couple.
Lots of,
yeah, so, I mean, buses might have a hard time turning over this morning.
Yep. It's Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll let you know what's new on New Release Tuesday. We will talk to Grant Bills of the Wisco Sports Show just after 8 o'clock. See what he's been up to. Get to Bad News Happy Music later on, and our daily check-ins. Already got a text from Hank Hill. Speaking of the cold weather. Said, good morning. For the Hank Hillers filling propane or fuel oil, can we get some Pantera?
Sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I can do some Pantera. I'll do that for you. Keep you warm on a cold day when you're filling up propane tanks.
Hope all the stuff works on the farm this morning, too.
Yeah. If it doesn't, just take the day off.
Yeah, right. That's how it works.
Just go inside and say, you know what, I'll deal with it tomorrow when it's 1 degree warmer.
Sorry, cows.
Some Papa Roach and that requested Pantera on the way. If you want to get in touch with us, find us online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene, and it is primary day in Wisconsin. Not everybody's going to be voting, obviously. But the race for state superintendent, the top K-12 education official, leader of the State Department of Public Instruction, is the only election that all voters will participate in. So if you do go to the polls today, you'll be voting for that.
Seeing that, yes.
The top 2 vote getters advance to the April 1st ballots. Obviously, you can only vote for one candidate. Jill Underly, running for re-election, faces 2 challengers, Sauk Prairie School District Superintendent Jeff Wright and education consultant Brittany Kinzer. Underly and Wright are Democrats. Kinzer considers herself a moderate and is backed by conservatives. Obviously, you can go to, myvote.wi.gov to find out more about where to go and who's going to be running. But, all the different municipalities going to be voting for different stuff, whether it's a new mayor, whether it's school board, council, all that crap.
Yep.
But in terms of the state, that's the only one that everybody in the state's going to be voting for, and that would be the state superintendent.
Polls, generally speaking, at 8 o'clock this morning.
Primary day. Yeah, be cautious, too, obviously, with the cold heading out there. And
I'm sure there was lots of absentee stickers.
Yeah.
Or voting, I should say.
Beaver Dam Police releasing new images connected to the Amber Alert. I don't know if you saw this, but...
They think she changed her look or something? Or
no, they actually released some... they had some security camera footage from a home of the guy. Kind of walking around in the driveway in the backyard, and doesn't look anything like the picture we had seen originally. So very important. If you haven't seen the new photos yet, you can find them online. You can Google Wisconsin Amber Alert, look under the news tab, and WBAY.com has got a news report about the Beaver Dam Police releasing new images connected to the Amber Alert.
Okay, all right.
But again, the video, it doesn't look like the pictures that we've seen
of that guy.
Of the guy. Same guy, they say, but the pictures are a bit new, and as I guess the newest that they've seen. But they're still missing. Still considered to be out there in that black Buick LaCrosse 4-door vehicle, maybe switching plates, heading possibly to Missouri or Arkansas.
Iowa, they believed at one point, too, as well.
Yeah. But, again, new images of the guy that's with Sophia Franklin, or supposed to be, or alleged to be. Gary Day is his name, 40-year-old Gary Day, father of the unborn child as well. Total of 18 people injured after a Delta Airlines plane crashed on the runway at Pearson International Airport yesterday afternoon. It happened at about 2 o'clock.
That was crazy.
And the plane ended up on its roof, upside down.
Crazy.
And nobody died. There was 80 people on board. The plane's upside down on the runway, and no one died.
And sort of on fire.
Yeah. Images from the scene show the plane, a Mitsubishi, on its roof on the tarmac at Pearson. It was an unbelievable scene.
Clear to land, 23, over 4819. We're going to Wingham.
Wingham, okay. No problem. Are you able to go to 2000?
We can give it a try for the weather, let's say 1 minute back.
This airplane just crashed at 23. Flight 1 minute back. I got no traffic here, so just let me know what you'd like to do. We just had a crash on runway 23 here.
Yeah, we've got it. The aircraft there's upside down and burning.
Upside down and burning. All arrivals and departures shut down at Pearson for hours following the crash, forcing the diversion of hundreds of planes. In a news conference last night, the Greater Toronto Airport CEO, Deborah Flint, called the response to the crash textbook. We are very grateful that there was no loss of life and relatively minor injuries. Delta Airlines said the flight was carrying a total of 80 people, 76 passengers, 4 crew, 22 Canadians on board the flight. Initially said that 3 people, including a child, sustained critical injuries. At a subsequent update, however, the officials say they were not aware of any critical injuries. Runways remain closed at the airport, and officials warning of further flight delays over the next few days, and they'll, of course, continue to investigate.
Skidded like on our side and then flipped over on our back. Where we ended up, there was like a big fireball out the left side of the plane. We kind of let ourselves go and fell to hit the ceiling, which is surreal feeling. Yeah. And then everybody was just like, get out, get out, get out. We could smell like jet fuel.
That is one of the passengers on board the plane describing what they saw and experienced. His name is John Nelson. He's from Minnesota. And then another passenger aboard the Delta plane that landed upside down, making a recording while he and others were being evacuated on the runway in the freezing cold.
We're in Toronto. We just landed. Our plane crashed. It's upside down. Fire department's on site. Upside down. Everybody, most people appear to be okay. We're all getting off. So what's going on?
Yeah, and that's one of those weird little things that you don't want to know, but you should, is that if you're on a plane and it's going down and you want to leave a message for a loved one, they say to call your voicemail and record something. So that way, if they do find your phone and you're, you lose your life, then maybe there's some audio there. But it sounds like maybe that's what that passenger was doing, was sort of recording what they saw just in case something, went completely wrong. But again, a plane crashing at that airport, upside down, 80 people on board, nobody died.
Yeah, they say that it's very similar to an accident that happened in Denver back in 1987, but since then they've made changes to the plane, specifically more secure seats, so they stay in place. And then also they made the wings kind of breakaway, apparently. You want them to come loose by design in a situation like that, otherwise they can pull the fuselage in half, so that wings actually broke off when it flipped over. But all people survived. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
And Flag Day may not be the most widely celebrated holiday in America. We just got done with President's Day. Mm-hmm. Today's National Drink Wine Day, by the way. I'm sure you knew that.
I did know that.
With your friend
I did know that.
In need.
I did.
We've got, plenty of holidays coming up. But apparently there's a new one.
A new one?
Maybe a new one.
Okay.
We'll see.
Is it the day after the Super Bowl?
No, it's going to be Trump's Birthday and Flag Day Holiday Establishment Act. Representative Claudia Tenney of New York wants the president, Donald Trump's birthday, to become a federal holiday. On Friday of last week, the New York Congresswoman introduced in a news release what she called Trump's Birthday and Flag Day Holiday Establishment Act, which would permanently codify June 14th as a federal holiday called Trump's Birthday and Flag Day. Do we get the day off? Because if we get the day off, I don't really give a rat's ass. You can call it Snoopy Day. I don't give a rat's ass. You give me the day off, I don't care. Just give me the day off. This is not satire, FYI. This is a real deal. The New York Republican did introduce an actual bill, H.R. 1395. Does not yet have any co-sponsors, although it seems safe to assume that someone else will join up. In her press statement, said her proposal has merit because, as she put it, no modern president has been more pivotal for our country than Donald J. Trump. As both our 45th and 47th president, he is the most consequential president in modern American history. Adding that recognizing Trump's birthday as a federal holiday would recognize him as the founder of America's golden age. Again, do we get the day off? Can I stay home and not have to work? Then call it whatever you want. Is it a paid day off, too? Do I get that?
It's probably one where you just won't get mail. And the banks
and the banks
shut.
will be closed. All right. Got a text from Jim just a moment ago. Said, what is going on with these planes? I got a 15-hour flight coming up. Yeah, yours is military, though. I think you'll be okay. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I don't think I'm ever going to fly again. I mean, every time I turn around, there's some plane crashing or there's something crazy going on with planes and people acting up and all this stuff. And yeah, may not.
I will.
May not ever get on board another one. Maybe. We'll see. Unless I absolutely have to. And even then, I don't know if I will. Thanks for the text, Jim. Hank also texted in, wanted to hear some Pantera. We'll get to that after Papa Roach.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
That is requested Pantera for Hank Hill, who texted in. Them boys been whacking off of my tool shit again. He said, good morning for the Hank Hillers that are filling propane or fuel oil. Can we get On Broken by Pantera? Thank you. I did that. You're welcome. Jim, who is in Kuwait, texted and said, what is going on with these planes? I got a 15-hour flight coming up. And I said, yeah, but you're on a military flight. I'm sure it'll be a much safer travel. And he said they fly commercial. Apparently they charter planes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I said, you're precious cargo. You'll be all right. I have faith.
Yeah.
He said he's airborne qualified, just need a parachute. Yeah.
It won't come to that, Jim. You'll be fine.
And Chris in Alabama texted in, said, kind of feel sorry for Jim. He's flying out of a military aircraft. Military equipment is notoriously made by the cheapest bidder. Yeah. Apparently, though, they charter a commercial flight, so that's how Jim's going to be coming home. So I have faith, dude. I have faith. Have faith. Sports here on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. The Wisconsin Badgers men's basketball team climbing again in the rankings,
I saw that.
almost into the top 10. They are ranked 11th now. They moved up 5 spots in the AP Top 25 poll from number 16 to number 11, and they moved up 4 spots in the coaches poll, 15 to 11. They're at home against unranked Illinois tonight, 7:30. That game on FS1. Only 6 games left in the regular season.
They play again on Saturday then, don't they? I think it's
Yeah.
Illinois tonight, and then on Saturday they play Oregon.
Yeah, they only have one more ranked team on the schedule as far as I know, and I think that's Michigan State. And then, of course, March and tournament time and all that. So, finish strong. We'll talk to Grant Bills about that later on, host of the Wisco Sports Show, get his take on the end of the Badgers season, regular season coming up. Bucks are off until Thursday. They host the Clippers at 7 o'clock Thursday nights. A little extended break for the All-Star weekend activities. Four Nations face-off continuing yesterday.
Time winding down. And Sweden, with their first victory in their final game here at the Four Nations face-off, they defeat the United States.
Yeah, U.S. didn't need the game, didn't matter at all for them in terms of where they were going. They were already a lock to be in the championship game, but they lost to Sweden last night 2-1. It's, they were resting a lot of guys with, some injuries. They did, one of the Kachuk brothers, left the game with an injury. I think he'll be okay, but USA downplaying concerns about a handful of key injuries ahead of its Four Nations face-off championship game against Canada on Thursday, a big rematch. This one is in America, and you can bet your bottom dollar that a bunch of Americans are going to boo that nasty-ass Canadian national anthem. There was a few last night because they were playing the Canadian game, or it was actually in the afternoon, I should say. The afternoon game, which was Canada, they boo a few boos here and there, but not too many, not like it is in Canada. But I'm guessing that when Canada gets on the ice against the U.S. on Thursday night, it's going to be Boo City. Canadians, Americans, Thursday night. Four Nations face-off finale. Championship game. Elsewhere in sports, Cincinnati wide receiver T. Higgins expected to play under the franchise tag again, second consecutive season for him. Tag will reportedly be the non-exclusive version, which means another team could offer him a contract that Cincinnati could either match or let him walk in exchange for first-round draft picks. So we'll see what happens with T. Higgins, but he's been rumored to be a hot free agent in the offseason. A lot of teams looking to bolster their receiving core, and T. Higgins is one of those guys.
And today's the day, right? This is baseball today, aren't pitchers and catchers? And this is the
so today is the first, I believe, full workout for most major league teams at spring training. So
I've been watching this because that feels to me like a day of spring when you can say that.
I'm sure Grant's got a camera on it right now. He's just watching the players sleep and waiting for him to wake up and start exercising. And
hey, this cold this morning, extreme cold warning for a bunch of counties, including Trempealeau and Jackson, Eau Claire, Clark, Chippewa, Winona, Houston, and then we've got the cold weather advisory, La Crosse, Monroe, Vernon, Crawford. We've got, those temperatures are going to feel like 30 to 40 below this morning. They're saying frostbite in as little as 10 minutes for exposed skin. And it felt like it this morning when I went outside. Usually I didn't have
nostrils frozen and hair.
Didn't
like
have gloves on.
Yeah.
And I grabbed my garage door just to turn the handle. And it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's real cold. It's real cold. So be careful. It will warm up later, but it's this morning's frigid.
We'll get to some Daughtry in just a bit, along with some hailstorm and I Prevail.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. More from Brian and Gene is coming up.
It's a national holiday that I'm sure many of you are celebrating. National Drink Wine Day.
I see you're drinking wine.
We drink the wine.
Didn't Jesus drink wine?
Do you drink wine?
Some wine, sir? I drink wine.
What kind of wine?
What kind of wine do you like?
I don't know, red?
Yes, red wine. The deepest staining of all the wines.
More wine!
More wine, more wine.
It's showtime.
National Drink Wine Day. Are you going to partake / celebrate?
Probably. That's a safe bet, probably, yeah.
You got one picked out? Is there a special one, or do you not care?
I don't care. I mean, I cared Friday night for Valentine's Day. We stayed in and we cooked a little steak and got a nicer bottle to have that we shared for Valentine's. But on a regular Tuesday night, whatever's around. Whatever's around.
Whatever's around will do.
Yes.
Yeah, when we went out to dinner on Saturday nights, started with a beer, wife had a cocktail, then when the meal came, she ordered a glass of wine. They brought like a little They brought a little sample of one that she wanted to try, and then she didn't like it, and so I was like, maybe I'll like it.
No, you didn't.
Bro, I hate wine. I think it's disgusting. I can't. Every time I drink it, I'm like, not a thing for me. Not a thing for me. National Drink Wine Day, also National Battery Day. We actually changed out all of our smoke detector batteries this weekend. One of them was beeping, and so I...
Do them all.
Yeah. Figured just do them all at once and be done with it for another 6 months or whatever. But maybe check the batteries on all the stuff in your house, whatever you got that takes batteries.
I feel like I'm really good about that, and then we just did that when the calendar turned, and at some point we must have needed to replace a battery in a smoke detector, and then... I guess forgot to get the battery. It was empty.
It was empty, no battery in it.
And I feel like we're good about that. It was like, oh my God, yeah. So check just to make sure you didn't forget things.
Yeah. Well, and the funny part is we've lived in our house for, almost 6 years now. I didn't know or remember how many smoke alarms we had. We have 8, by the way. So the funniest part is that we don't have one in our kitchen or living room area. And I'm sure that's by design, where in case you're cooking something and it gets smoky, you don't want to have that going off because the ceiling is really high. So getting up there to shut it off or replace it or do whatever is kind of a pain in the ass. Like we have the big kind of vaulted ceilings in the kitchen and living room area. But there's one in the, there's one in the hallway. There's one in each of the bedrooms, the 3 bedrooms that we have upstairs. So that's 4 upstairs and then there's 4 downstairs. as well. But
well, I thought I was good about that, and then apparently I wasn't.
National Battery Day along with Drink Wine Day. So change your batteries and then have a glass of wine to congratulate yourself. If you're going to be drinking wine tonight while you're watching the Boob Tube, you'll catch FBI on CBS. Doc over on Fox. No, not our Doc. Just a TV show called Doc. The Rookie new time slot on ABC. Also Deal or No Deal Island on NBC. And the premiere of the Fox Hollow Murders, Playground of a Serial Killer on Hulu. Pretty interesting stuff.
I looked down and saw the bones of a foot. I'd never seen that many skeletal remains. Thousands. Bones everywhere. How many victims are out here?
I had no idea what was about to unfold.
It's a serial killer case.
4-part docu-series follows the use of new DNA technology to identify 10,000 human bones and fragments that were found on Herb Baumeister's 18-acre farm. It's called The Fox Hollow Murders, Playground of a Serial Killer, premieres today on Hulu. Right up my alley. Streaming premiere of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 on Paramount Plus today. Also a new comedy special on Prime. George Lopez, Muy Catolico. The premiere of that on Prime. Plus, you've got Will Trent, Kitchen Nightmares, FBI International, The Joe Schmo Show, Irrational, and the FBI Most Wanted on tonight. All the late night shows are in repeats except for Stephen Colbert. He's new. He's got George Clooney as his guest, and it's also new release Tuesday. And Nosferatu is on DVD. So if you're looking to pick up a movie on the way home, Nosferatu, the remake of the remake of the remake. It's rated R, stars Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, Bill Skarsgård, Aaron Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe. Gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. Also, that animated Lord of the Rings movie, the one that I can't pronounce. It's called Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim, I think is right. Rated PG-13. You've got the voices of Brian Cox, Billy Boyd, Dominic Monaghan. Also, September 5th, rated R. This one sounds kind of interesting. It stars Peter Sarsgaard, and it's during the 1972 Summer Olympics in Munich, Germany. An American sports broadcasting team has to adapt to live coverage. The Israeli athletes being held hostage by a terrorist group, so they were taping everything and sending it back, and then they had to switch to being like a news station, essentially, while they were there, so chronicles that. Also a movie called The Order, rated R, starring Jude Law, Nicholas Hoult, and Ty Sheridan. A series of bank robberies and car heists frightened communities in the Pacific Northwest. A lone FBI agent believes that the crimes were not the work of a financially motivated criminal, but rather a group of dangerous domestic terrorists. It's called The Order. Also new on new release Tuesday, Weekend in Taipei, rated R, starring Luke Evans, former DEA agent and undercover operative, revisit their romance during a fateful weekend in Taipei, unaware of the dangerous consequences of their past. And then last but not least, a movie called Little Bites, rated R, starring Heather Langenkamp, who you might remember from the first Freddy movie, Nightmare on Elm Street. She was the daughter.
Okay. Little Bite, is this like about...
I think it's a horror movie. Also starring in Little Bites, Chaz Bono. Remember Chaz Bono?
Sure do.
In a desperate attempt to protect her 10-year-old daughter, a young widow allows a nightmarish monster to slowly eat her alive.
Okay.
Little Bites. So rather than eating the daughter, the monster eats the mom.
Little pieces.
By taking little bites.
That's icky.
So there's that. That's what's new on New Release Tuesday if you want to pick something up on your way home on DVD. Watch some Little Bites while you're down in some
wine?
vino.
No,
some
I don't
vino.
think so.
No?
Little Bites.
No, not happening.
A little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there.
That'd be an interesting hypothetical. Would you? Of course you would. You're a mom. That's what moms do. You do whatever it takes.
Yes, but I don't. But also icky.
You would let a monster eat you slowly rather than your daughter, right?
Yes, but why can't I get away from him? I mean, if he's just doing it
I don't know. You got to watch the movie to find out.
I got to wear bandages and then go about my day. I still got to go to work while this guy's eating me. Is that the thing?
You got to watch the movie to find out. That's how you figure it out. You watch the guy eat somebody slowly, little bites. No,
probably not.
Not going to be a thing. Not on the top of your Netflix queue. Okay. Speaking of plane crashes, Motley Crue, Vince Neil, private plane crashing last week, killing one of the pilots. I think it was a co-pilot, right? And from what I read online, the actions of the co-pilot and his, decades of military training and stuff were what saved everyone else's lives on that plane. Like, everyone could have ended up dead.
Yeah.
Anytime you talk about a plane crash, of course, that's always a possibility. But, yeah, his actions and his...
Heroic.
Yeah, obviously, but also just the fact that the guy's been a long time, pilot and veteran and all that stuff. So worked in his favor and was able to save some lives. Here's Motley Crue now with Dr. Feelgood.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene on your rock station.
Motley Crue, Dr. Feelgood on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Again, brutally cold today, a high of 8-ish, somewhere around there. Pretty much a repeat tomorrow. However, today looks like we'll get some sun. Tomorrow might be cloudy.
Mm-hmm. Election Day, too, spring election day. This is the primary day for the state of Wisconsin. The only thing that we'll all vote on is for the state superintendent. So the top of the K-12 education in the state of Wisconsin, the leader of the Department of Public Institution. Otherwise, it's all, city council, mayoral,
and
school board. It's important.
It is. And it's also a primary. It doesn't determine who's actually going to become the state superintendent. It's just to determine who's going to run when the general election happens in April. So find out more. Go to, what is it?
MyVoteWI.gov,
I believe is the website. Thanks again to Hank Hill and Chris in Alabama and Jim for texting us this morning. Tisha wanted to hear some Drowning Pool. Said, good morning, Brian and Gene. Is there any chance you could play some Drowning Pool to get my day started? I sure would appreciate it. Have a great day. I can do some Drowning Pool. We'll do that here in a couple of minutes for Tisha. Look, people are going to need stuff on days like today to get going when it's this cold outside. I keep forgetting to turn the defroster on the front when I go home in the afternoon or whatever.
Yeah, leave it on that setting so in the morning when you...
So my truck is not
in a
digital.
Garage.
It's I have to press buttons in order to change, So when I go somewhere in the afternoon and I get in the truck, once it's warmed up, I like to put the heat on the feet as opposed to blowing up in my face on the windshield. Well, then I forget to switch it back, so when I start it remotely from inside the house in the morning before I go to work, it's warm in there, but if I have any ice or anything building up on the windshield and I forgot to switch it back, it's still sitting there, and then I have to wait for it again, and it's just a pain in the ass. I keep forgetting to do that.
Super cold out, so be careful this morning. Dress in layers and be aware of that.
Get to that Drowning Pool in a couple of minutes, and if you need something, find us online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
Requested Drowning Pool for Tisha on a very cold morning. She said, awesome, thank you so much. You're very welcome.
Ooh.
Super Bowl was just in Nolans.
Yes, Mardi Gras.
All of the kitchen nightmares leading up to the Super Bowl were hilarious. Gordon Ramsay down there trying to fix some of the restaurants that are struggling. Checking out all the delicious food, the Cajun Creole food they were serving up.
Ugh.
One thing this is kind of interesting because you know me, I'm not like a huge eco warrior, right? I'm not one of these people that's all about Mother Earth. But I do try my best to recycle and do it, as much as I feel I'm comfortable with. One of the things, though, that I always felt impacted about that I never liked was beads. Because you go somewhere, a bar, especially here, right? In Midwest and Wisconsin, you go to a bar, you get beads, and then what? They come home, you keep them for a little while, it's a fun little memory, and then what? They go in the trash. They go in the recycling bin, right? They're plastic, they're wasteful. I get why they're around. I understand it. I mean, it's fun. It's all bright and colorful and all that stuff, and it's easy. And people
saved for a certain thing. Like I think I have a bag of green ones that are that I bring out for just St. Patrick's Day.
Right, and we have some. We have some that we have either purchased that have different shamrocks or whatever. But for the most part, just regular ass beads.
Yes,
they're very wasteful. And I've never really thought about it much, other than my wife saves them, and I'm like, why do we have a drawer full of beads that just sit there in the drawer and never do anything? Mm-hmm. This is kind of interesting. Combating the wastefulness of plastic beads. As Mardi Gras comes up a few weeks from now. Louisiana State University researchers have created biodegradable beads, which contain seeds. So once they break down, they can sprout plants. The beads are still in the early stages, and 3D printing makes them in about 90 minutes. So obviously it's still in the early stages of trying to figure this all out. But instead of getting plastic beads that end up in the gutter or in a trash can or on the ground or in somebody's yard or a landfill, maybe some of these beads will end up sprouting plants.
Seeds inside of the beads. So this will allow plants and flowers to essentially come out of these Mardi Gras beads. So sweet peas attract certain type of bacteria, and these bacteria can speed up degradation of one of the versions of the beads that we have. Especially because, we're throwing these around kids and other things, not something you really want to be introducing into the environment any more than you have to.
The sound you hear from the beads is the seed inside of it allows plants and flowers to come out of the Mardi Gras beads. They're made of polyhydroxyl biodegradable compounds that are used as a substitute for synthetic plastics. The girl that you heard there,
scientist
Alexis Strain, LSU graduate student researcher, said the thing to know about this is that it is essentially produced by bacteria. And since it's produced by bacteria, it can also be broken down by bacteria. Placed in soil, the beads degrade in about 3 months. She said sweet pea seeds have the best results in terms of what's going to flower and what's going to bloom. Sweet peas attract certain types of bacteria, and these bacteria can speed up the degradation of one of the versions of the beads we have. Most Mardi Gras beads, petroleum-based. Shiny plastic coatings made out of heavy metals sometimes.
Yeah, so not only are they going in landfills, they're releasing chemicals.
Beads are still in the early stages, and 3D printing takes about an hour and 30 minutes. 3D printing plans will be available for around $150, and Strain and her team hopes to have mass production available sometime in the near future, but maybe just taking a little chunk out of that wastefulness.
They also have a horse adoption program for one of their parades. I don't know if you knew about this.
No.
But,
are you talking about Mardi Gras parade?
I'm talking about Mardi Gras. For the 7th year in a row, it is through the Humane Society of Louisiana. And these are animals that are being put up for adoption. There are 21 horses up for adoption this year. In the past 7 years, 120 Mardi Gras parade horses have found homes. It's entering its 7th year. It's proven to be very successful, and dozens of potential applicants already have contacted the Humane Society for these horses. Widespread interest in this adoption program, saving these horses from potential slaughterhouses, and they range in price from like $650 to $1,500. And so, obviously you have to go through the adoption process just like you would with the Humane Society, and not everybody can have a horse, right? You got to have land and all that, but saved over 120 horses so far with this parade program that they do during Mardi Gras.
Very cool. Got music on the way from Bush and Bad Flower, and if you need something, find us online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings.
Recommend. It's the one I always get wrong.
Spelling?
At least the first time. I always, for some reason, think there's 2 C's.
And not 2 M's?
And 2 M's, but there's only 1 C and 2 M's. So when I start to spell it, and then I realize, oh no, it only has 1 C.
So is it a spelling bee happening or something? Why are you bringing this up? Recommend.
What's your word?
I told you, vacuum.
Vacuum? Is there another one?
2 C's, 2 U's, 2 M's. I don't know. There's 1 V. That's all I know. That could be. I don't know if it's the only one.
VA, you got that.
I know, and I don't know why I can't just commit it to memory. It's dumb.
What if you said VACCW? What, give it a, because
like
that's how we. Well, that's how
song?
Right.
Yeah.
That's how we learn when we're kids, right? Is the alphabet song and all that crap, and
Yep.
What if you did that?
That would probably help.
VACCW.
Spells Halloween. That was another song I learned when I was little. HALLOWWW and spells Halloween.
Okay. I've never heard that before, but whatever works.
It's probably just Black Earth grade school. Mrs. Erickson.
Obviously, the word that I lost on, I've told this story many, many times.
Tell me about this.
At the Pheasant Lane Mall in 3rd grade was elementary, as in elementary school. Got that wrong. I was in the top 3. I was 3rd. I was this close to taking home the hardware. I was so proud of that trophy. I really was. I still am. That
3rd place one?
Yeah. I know it wasn't, but I never really considered myself a good speller. And I was only 9, and I mean, there was 100 kids on that stage.
No, it takes a lot to get to that. I'm not taking that away from you.
Ask Reddit thread about the one word you can never spell correctly.
I think I have problems with, and I think it's a vowel thing too. Nausea.
N-A-U-S-E-A-U.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of ones in this list are words that have double letters at certain places, and you're not sure if you remember which one.
Desert.
Yeah, well, and that one is, that one is mostly because you don't know which form of the verb or word you're using, right? It's like because they're the same, but yeah. What is the one word you can never spell correctly? Maintenance. I feel like that one is like Wednesday. If you sound it out, because we pronounce it maintenance, right?
But it's got that extra thing
but
in
it's
there.
main 10 ants.
That they skip.
Somebody said, when I try to spell it out, my brain just short circuits.
I understand.
Can you spell maintenance?
Sure. Probably not. Maintenance. M-A-I-N-T-E-N-I-E-N-C-E. I'd have to write it out.
A-N-C-E.
I can't do this verbally.
All right, we'll get a piece of paper because here we go.
Write it out.
Diarrhea. Cha-cha-cha.
See, there's another one. Nausea, diarrhea, anything that has to do with
poop words. I've got them all down because I'm well versed in poop. I'm all about it. It's a very fun subject to talk about. It makes people very awkward. Diarrhea.
D-I-A-R-R-E-H-A.
R-R-H-E-A.
Yeah. See,
the H before the heat. It's
nausea.
a hea.
Yeah.
Diarrhea.
Yeah.
But we pronounce it diarrhea. Cha-cha-cha. Convenience, as in convenience store.
C-O-N-V-E-N-I-E-N-C-E.
Ding! One for Gene. Somebody said about convenience, I wanted to say this too, but I couldn't spell it.
Yeah.
Necessary. This one's easy.
Is it easy? Is it doubles? Are they both doubles? See, this is where I just type and then autocorrect does the work for me.
But if you're handwriting a letter
I would change the word. I would say I needed that. Versus
that was necessary. It's one C, two S's.
Yeah, autocorrect. Thank you.
Necessary. Occasionally, it's the inverse. It's two C's and one S. O-double-C.
It's O-double-C.
A single S. I-O-N-A. Double L-Y. Again with the double letters.
Is this thermometer? Okay. What?
Accommodate. Can you read your own penmanship?
Stop. A-C-C-O-M-O-D-A-T-E. Two M's.
Two C's, two M's.
Yeah, dumb. That's dumb.
This one gets me too because of the doubles. Embarrass.
Two R's. Two S's.
Ding.
E-M-B-A.
Yeah. The rest of it you could figure out. But sometimes people, like you did with the I and the A, you can switch them up. Mm-hmm. When we were talking about maintenance. And you had an I-N-C-E, it was A-N-C-E. How about rhythm?
Those are the...
No vowels.
R-Y-T-H-M.
R-H-Y-T-H-M.
Yeah, there's another one like that, too. What's the other one that has that same situation?
Oh, with the H and the Y, and there's no...
Yeah.
Leonard Skinner?
No. There's another one that's like that, too. But again, I just type and then autocorrect does. But
obviously...
Is pneumonia on there?
Well, that's P-N. Yeah. P-N-E-U.
P-H-E-N, isn't it?
No, there's no H in pneumonia.
Oh, yeah, that's right. See?
Nauseous is on here, though.
Yeah.
N-A-U-S-E-O-U-S. Hemorrhoids.
There's probably some double letters in there. H-E-double-M? No, one M.
H-E single M. O double R. Hoids. H-O-I-D-S. An Ask Reddit thread about words that Americans can never spell correctly. Mine is recommend. Every time I try to spell it, I realize there's only one C, you dummy. But I think in your case...
I could make a song.
Vacuum. V-A-C-C-W-M.
H-A-L-L-O-W. Double-E-N spells Halloween. See? I remember that from third grade, probably.
I suck at spelling. VACCWM. I suck. Like, you get the suck in there for the suction. No?
Mm-hmm. VA. Okay, it's a song now.
VACCWM. I just helped you spell. You're welcome.
Mom, are you all right? What are you doing over there?
I'm trying to spell vacuum, all right? Give Mom a break. It's been a week. Rockmornings.com if you want to tell us what word you struggle to spell. Find all of our contact info on that website. Listen to the daily podcast. Check out all of our contests. Sign up for stuff. Rockmornings.com. It's Detroit.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find the daily podcast at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings, Brian and Gene. Again, brutally cold today. Be on watch for your kids and your old people and your pets. If they got to go outside for any period of time, make sure they're all bundled up and safe. And
they're not liking it. The dogs are like this.
yeah.
Like,
Not
they
a fan.
don't want to touch it.
Remy's too young to really
Understand how cold it is?
Yeah, Fenway, though, is like, bro, I want to get back inside right away. Badgers moving up 5 spots in the latest AP Top 25 poll from 16 to 11. Just outside that top 10, they'll be at home tonight against unranked Illinois, 7:30 on FS1. Bucks off till Thursday. They host the Clippers at 7 p.m., and it's USA and Canada in the Four Nations face-off championship game, or championship, what am I looking for? Not game. Match, if you will, on Thursday on the ice. TD Garden in Boston. Remember Richie Incognito? This is like 2012, 2013.
I remember the name.
Bullied. He got accused of bullying a teammate on the Dolphins, calling him the N-word.
Okay. Did he? Was he accused of it?
Oh, he did.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, though, this whole thing has resurfaced between Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin. Former Dolphins offensive lineman Richie Incognito went on a tweet spree last weekend after former Miami teammate Jonathan Martin, whom he was accused of bullying in a scandal that led to Incognito being suspended by the NFL. Martin told ESPN apparently that none of that happened, that he never felt bullied. Incognito tweeting, quote, "He couldn't cut it in the NFL, so he quit and his mom blamed me. Legacy media pushed this narrative long and far. Too bad it was all a lie. They lied to protect his money. He quit. The team had every right to claw back that money. His mom started the bullying narrative with at ESPN, at Adam Schefter, so that at Miami Dolphins wouldn't go after his signing bonus." Now, this guy's still not a very good person, Incognito. He's still dropping the N-word all over the place to people. Like, I mean, Warren Sapp, Reggie Bush, there's several people in the league that were not on his team that have said he's not a good guy.
Yeah.
But in terms of this specific incident, apparently
His mom said something to keep it so he would keep some of his money.
According to his narrative, Jonathan Martin, who recently said that he never felt bullied by Incognito, allowed Incognito to kind of come out of hiding and say, this is what I've been saying all along, is that he couldn't cut it in the NFL. They were going to take his signing bonus. His mom got on the bullying thing because it's a red flag for a lot of people and made me out to be the bad guy. And because of that, he got suspended and, lost the chance to earn money and all that stuff. Incognito received an indefinite suspension to close out the 2013 season, did not play in 2014 after being accused of harassing Martin, who was a second-round draft pick back in 2012. A 144-page report by NFL investigator Ted Wells on Bullygate said that Martin had received a pattern of harassment, which included racial slurs and sexual texts aimed at family members by Incognito, along with then Dolphins and fellow offensive linemen John Jerry and Mike Pouncey. Martin, however, told ESPN last March of the Wells report that it's my greatest regret of my life to this day is participating in that clown show.
Huh.
Here's some of the audio from 12 years ago. Adam Schefter, I believe, reading the language that was in a voicemail that Incognito left for Jonathan Martin.
Richie Incognito, the Dolphins guard, left a voicemail on Jonathan Martin's phone that reads the following. "Hey, what's up, you half-N piece of expletive? I saw you on Twitter. You've been training 10 weeks. I want an expletive in your mouth. I'm going to slap your expletive mouth. I'm going to slap your real mother across the face with laughter. Expletive you. You're still a rookie. I'll kill you. The NFL is in possession of that voicemail, as is the Miami Dolphins organization. And once they heard it, they made the decision to suspend them.
So that is Schefter there, obviously reading the and that voicemail is real. It exists. Martin's father at one point played it. Incognito never denied it.
You can ask anybody in the Miami Dolphins locker room who had John Martin's back the absolute most, and they'll undoubtedly tell you me. John never showed signs that football was getting to him, the locker room was getting to him.
You did leave this voice message.
Yes, I did leave this voice message.
Going back to that now, do you look at that and say, I left that for Jonathan Martin?
When I see that voicemail, when I see those words come up across the screen, I'm embarrassed by it. I'm embarrassed by my actions. Yeah. But what I want people to know is the way Jonathan and the rest of the offensive line and how our teammates, how we communicate, it's vulgar. It's not right. When the words are put in the context, I understand why a lot of eyebrows get raised, but people don't know how John and I communicate to one another.
And as I mentioned, Warren Sapp even said that Incognito dropped the N-bomb around him as well.
One time he kicks me in a game and calls me the N-word, and I look at him and I say, oh, you want me to punch you in the mouth?
So again, Incognito, not necessarily a great guy, but certainly, according to Martin, it sounds like he wasn't guilty of bullying him, or he never felt bullied, so that may have come from the mom or the parents trying to recoup some of that signing bonus money. Either way, the story has resurfaced. It's all over the interwebs.
It's not a great text message.
No, and apparently there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah.
Well, and look, anybody who's ever been around hockey or football or any kind of sport knows that in the locker room, a lot of things get said that you would never say out in public. And that's the nature of the business. I mean, you know, we've heard stories about Uke. We've heard stories about all these guys. Look, it's locker room talk. There's a reason it's called that. And unfortunately for Incognito, that talk, some of it, got out into the public eye. And it looks so glaringly bad for a lot of people who have never been in that situation.
Yes.
It's Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. We'll get to some Seether in just a couple of minutes.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays, 6 to 9.
Seether walls come down on Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Grant Bill's going to join us just after 8 o'clock from the Wisco Sports Show. Colton texted in, how about the word tomorrow? Again, with double letters.
Yeah. That one I don't have as much problem, but I understand Colton.
Jason texted in time seasoning. I don't have a problem with that one because there's two times. T-I-M-E and T-H-Y-M-E.
I think he's trying to, my rhythm thing, maybe he was trying to think of the other one.
Jake texted in and said alcohol and awkward. I hope there's other people out there that cannot spell those. I'm surprised by alcohol. I feel like with it being so prevalent in our society that it wouldn't be a hard word to spell.
Now I got to do time and rhythm because I think I know how to spell time every time, like this one, you know, the seasoning. So now I need to just remember that, like my vacuum song.
About that.
Were you having me sing it wrong?
Yes.
Purposefully?
Yes.
Well, you're not a very nice person.
Have you ever known me to be a very nice person?
I'll stick with my Halloween song. H-A.
I was trying to make it worse.
W-W-E.
I was trying to make it worse, and I succeeded. Because I knew that was the one word you couldn't spell. That would be your number one word.
Yes. My go-to word that causes me trouble.
Right. I've known you long enough to know that vacuum is a word you cannot spell.
I don't like it.
And so
you don't really need to either, because you can just say I'm going to vac, V-A-C. You can just shorten it. You can.
Well, you can also say out loud vacuum. Right, you're not spelling it.
But like if I'm writing a chore list or something, I mean, I don't have to.
But needless to say, yes, I was trying to confuse your brain and make it worse.
Man, you're not.
Pam is very upset at that. Because she sent it in a text. Pam texted in and said, vacuum only has one C.
You big jerk.
And I said, I know, I'm trying to make it worse for Gene. And she said, you're bad. I should have known.
But I won't remember the song now.
Yeah, you will.
No, I won't.
It's up there. WCW.
No, Halloween.
VACCW.
Mrs. Erickson.
You're going to remember
always.
Chris said, when I was younger, this is actually very, this is astute. This is very good.
Okay, all right.
Chris in Alabama said, when I was younger, I learned the difference between dessert and desert.
Yes.
By saying 2 S's in desert, or dessert, as you want double scoops of ice cream.
I had it with the 2 C's in ice cream. There's 2 C's in ice cream, so there's 2 S's in dessert.
Oh, okay.
That's how
so you did it the same kind of, but okay, gotcha.
Double scoops, though. I like that.
Thank you, Chris, for the suggestion. Ryan texted in and said, I learned how to spell in the early 90s where they taught us how to spell it how it sounds. So I'm screwed for life on spelling.
Certain things.
But
yes.
reading I have no problems with. Yeah. Thanks for the text, guys. Appreciate it. Head to rockmornings.com to find all our contact info. Listen to the show live. Check out the daily podcast. Register to win prizes. All that's on there.
Plus, if you just have really bad handwriting, it doesn't matter, right? People are like, what does this
you've
say
got that
anyway?
too.
I know. So then they're like, what is this? And you're like, I don't know. It doesn't matter if it's not spelled correctly. You can't read it anyway.
What I've always found interesting is not only is your penmanship horrific, but you never can write in a straight line.
Why does that bother you and my mother so much? My mother hates that.
I don't hate it. It's just it's an observation that there's something wrong with you.
Card,
you
like
can't
with an address,
even with a line piece of paper.
Like,
you can't. You can start with a perfect straight line, and it always tails off and goes up or down. Usually it's down, but it's a very strange thing about you. Like there's a problem with you.
Well, my mom doesn't like it because when I fill out an envelope, right, and I write an address.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. I put a lot of those in the mailbox up front, and it's just.
She's like,
goofy.
why can't you do a straight line? It's like, why do you care? You're getting a card in the mail.
Something happened to you. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if you fell off your.
Sending you a letter.
I don't know if you fell off your bike or what it was, but something screwed up that wiring. I don't know why that
needs to be something you're concerned about. Just open it up and read the sentiment inside of it.
Now, look, mine are not perfect. I'll be the first to admit it, but at least it has the semblance of straight lines going across. Yours are just herky-jerky all over the place, like having a spaz. I don't know what's happening over there. And for someone like you who takes as many handwritten notes and has so much handwriting that you do in a day,
lists and things,
and all your lists, it seems like it would be prudent for you to actually have better penmanship and writing skills.
Clearly,
like it's never improved.
Not.
It's only gotten worse.
Clearly not.
I don't know what your deal is.
Gets things done, doesn't it? It does.
I guess. If that's what you want to call it.
That's what I want to call it.
All right. Grant Bill's coming up in just a bit. Also going to get to Bad News, Happy Music. 3 Days Grace in a few minutes. Right now, it is Falling in Reverse.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find them online at rockmornings.com.
That is Falling in Reverse, of course, with Zombified. Text from Bill. Mississippi. I've never found that hard to spell. Once you realize that everything's double, except for the I's.
SSI-PPI.
And there is
also has a little
song. MISSI-SSI-PPI. Yeah.
But I understand. I think
what happens is much like me when I'm trying to remember people's names, my brain confuses my brain. Where you're like,
you second guessed yourself.
Yes,
that what you mean?
And you know it's Mississippi and how it's spelled, but then you're like,
is it?
Is that right? And then you start to question, and then you're like, the big river, you know, like. Deep River, whatever. But yeah, and that's what happens to me with names all the time. Because I'll see somebody that I recognize, and I
think it's Dwayne, but
pretty
then
sure
like,
I know the name. But rather than say the wrong name and then look like a complete jackass,
I'll just not say anything.
Hey, dude, what's up, man? How are you? Here's my wife, and then I name her, and then I hope that the name gets given. You know what I mean? Try that route. But I hear you, Bill. Thank you for the suggestion. Talking about words that people have trouble spelling.
It was interesting. Our coworker was just talking about not necessarily trouble spelling, but trouble typing. For instance, he said when he goes.
He's a keyboard one finger guy, right? For the most part.
He almost always types form.
Yeah. And that's a whole nother bag of worms when you start talking about typing, because some people can just do this and, not even look, and they're typing everything out and they're good to go.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, and I've said this before, out of all the classes that I took in high school, for this job and for what I do for a living now, that typing class that I took was the most important one. Everything else I've pretty much forgotten about high school in terms of like science projects and, anything else that happened in high school. But man, using that every single day has been super important. So I'm glad I took that. Because at first it was actual typewriters back then. I mean, that's how old we are, obviously. But yeah, I'm glad I took it, because God forbid I had to do that every morning.
With your
oh my goodness,
fingers.
never get anything done. Never get anything done. Impossible. 3 Days Grace in just a couple minutes. If you want to get in touch with us, find all our contact info online at rockmornings.com. If you look out a window, it's sunny and bright. However, it's brutally cold. We're talking single-digit temps today for a high. Same thing tomorrow. Maybe back towards 20 degrees on Thursday and up into the 20s on Friday. By Sunday, we're looking at 43 for a high.
Yeah, it's going to be much more mild next week. Most of next week.
I got to get that truck in the car wash.
Oh, my gosh. They look terrible.
Disgusting. 3 Days Grace next.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays from 6 a.m. until 9 a.m.
Rockfest music from 3 Days Grace. Animal I Have Become. Looking forward to seeing them and In This Moment, Marilyn Manson, and so many others at Rockfest this July.
Was that 18th, 19th, 20th?
17th, 18th,
yeah,
and 19th.
There you go.
Rockfest. Go to rock-fest.com for tickets and info, and we'll see you there in Cadott this July. Molly Ringwald is 57 years old today.
I have just as many feelings as you do, and it hurts just as much when somebody steps all over them.
God, you're so pathetic.
Put lipstick on using her boobies. Right? Molly Ringwald? Dr. Dre is 60.
Yeah. What up? This is Dr. Dre. The party's going on.
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday.
Dr. Dre, 60. He almost died a few years ago, right?
Yeah,
during his divorce and all that stuff, all the stress and everything got to him. Vanna White, 68 years old. She makes $10 million a year on Wheel of Fortune. Doesn't even have to turn the letters anymore. She just pushes the button or whatever. She's worth about $85 million. Vanna White. I don't think I have watched an episode with Ryan Seacrest yet.
I haven't.
I mean, I've seen some clips and some highlights, but I haven't watched an actual episode. But Vanna White, celebrating her 68th birthday today. John Travolta. How old is John Travolta?
It's not as big 70, is it?
71. One more.
We just washed the hair. I work on my hair a long time, and you hit it.
He hits my hair.
He hits my hair.
Dennis DeYoung of Styx is 78. Former Styx singer. I don't think he's been with the band since like 2000, right? Is he at Ashley for the Arts? Or is he what is that lead singer thing that was at Treasure Island? Wasn't there a lead singer?
Oh, it was the
frontman.
The frontman.
Is he a part of that? Was that at Treasure Island? Am I right?
It was
I remember seeing
Ho-Chunk in
Black River Falls. Okay. I knew I saw his name somewhere. Was it him? I think it was him, right? Yoko Ono is 92.
And Yoko, in the middle of it, can't handle that she's not getting any shine. She takes the microphone out of the stand, starts playing the bongo, and as they're singing, go, Johnny, go, whatever, she picks up the mic and I swear to God goes, yeah, some crazy shit.
She's 92?
Yeah, 92. Born on this day in 1933, Yoko Ono.
92?
Well, Sir Paul McCartney's like 80-something, right?
Yeah, well, I would have said that. I guess I didn't realize she was that much older. Huh.
And born on this day in 1950, died in 2009. The soundtrack, the heartbeat of many people my age, your age, who grew up in the maybe late 70s, early 80s, and watched all of his films. The late, great John Hughes. Wrote and directed The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He also wrote Mr. Mom, the first 3 vacation movies, Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful, Uncle Buck, and Home Alone. So, yeah, he's He's got his finger on the pulse of my youth.
And wasn't there that group of young guys who went to try to find him? And
Yeah,
he's
they
a
did
recluse or something?
They did a documentary about it years ago. Well, not years ago, but a few years back, and it was on Netflix, I think. And they tried to track him down because he became a recluse after, I think, Home Alone pretty much. And they were sending him letters and stuff and trying to get in touch with him. And I guess they got a response, so they went to his house, and like a maid opened the door, and they didn't get a chance to. It was kind of anticlimactic, but it was still kind of interesting. I mean, if you don't know anything about John Hughes. But was I right, Dennis DeYoung?
So
the front man?
Yeah,
right?
he left in 98, by the way.
Okay, so a little before 2000. All right. On this day in 1974, Kiss, 51 years ago today, releasing their self-titled debut album featuring Strutter and Cold Gin.
Oh, I love Cold Gin.
Pretty good start to a career.
Yeah.
1994, Reality Bites in theaters. Ben Stiller.
Mm-hmm.
98, Chicago Cubs broadcasting legend Harry Carey died in California at the age of 83.
This is the last time this year. So let me hear you. Good and loud. All right, Gary. On one. On two. On three.
How many Budweisers do you think he had?
Hey.
All of them?
There was, in this all the Saturday Night Live stuff.
Don't tell me because we're about halfway through it.
There's
We
a
started
Harry-
watching last night.
Well, maybe not. I can't remember if it was in that. But like in all of these like shows that have been happening in these reflections in their 50 years and stuff, there's the Harry Carey skits.
Will
that
Ferrell,
are,
yeah. The moon made a change. In 2000, there were several movies in theaters at the same time, released on this day. One of them was Boiler Room, starring Giovanni Ribisi and Ben Affleck and a bunch of others.
Rocco!
Vin Diesel was in that. He was also in Pitch Black, which was in theaters on this day in 2000. 2001, NASCAR legend Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Earnhardt Sr., passing away. Multi-car crash on the last lap of the Daytona 500. He was 51, had raced for 22 years.
Dale Earnhardt gets turned sideways. He'll take Schrader. Earnhardt and Schrader are in the wall. Waltrip leads off 4.
Yeah, sad day for NASCAR. 2005, Constantine, Keanu Reeves, battling demons in theaters on this day.
I need to use the chair.
Needed to use the chair. There you go. Some stuff that happened on February 18th, along with some birthdays. We've got Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, coming up next.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Start your day with Rock Mornings.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene, and Tuesdays at about 8:15, we're joined by the one and only Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, which you can hear across the state of Wisconsin, including on WKTY in La Crosse and Sports Talk 105 in the Eau Claire area. Grant Bills, are you still in a bathroom?
I am. Yeah, this is the best that it's going to get for me. I'm at a car shop because my car needs a bearing adjustment or replacement or something. But they have this nice, clean, solo bathroom where I'm able to both relieve myself, which I already did. I washed my hands, and now it provides me with a private place to speak with you two.
Can you do any sort of car maintenance? Are you man enough to do car maintenance? Can you change your oil?
No, but that's not... I don't know. I thought you were going to say change a tire. I can change a tire. I can check the fluids. I can do all the... Changing your oil, I realize it's not the hardest thing in the world, but it's more involved than just like, oh, let me unscrew this. And like you need to wheel it up on those little ramps, and it's a whole thing. So I don't feel bad about not being able to change my oil.
What about changing a battery? Could you change a battery if you had to?
Yeah, because you just look at how the old one is set up in there, and then you take a picture, you remember.
He's taking a picture with his phone and change out. That's great. I love it. Could you carry the battery? Are you strong enough to hold onto it before you drop it?
First of all, yes, I'm strong enough. That's a ridiculous question. What's wrong with, all right, I'm going to remember how this one is hooked up, take a picture, unhook this one, and then hook the new one in the exact same way. That's so logical.
Nothing wrong with that. But you could jump a vehicle, you could check some fluids, and you could change a tire. That's good enough, Grant. I mean, what happens is this the only bathroom if other customers need...
Yeah, what if somebody else has to poop? And you're in there having a conversation with us?
I at the moment when I came in here, it was empty. My nightmare is I open the door to go back out, and there's a line of people who have been hearing this the whole time.
Yes.
Like it's filled up since I've come in here, but I don't think that's the case.
All right, well, we'll stop dicking around here and get to it. Badgers moving up again, just outside the top 10. What a win. The ejection, how did you feel about the ejection? Because at first you're like, okay, it's a kind of a ticky-tack call, but then you watch the other angle, and it did look like he kind of assertively put his hand towards that guy's junk.
I think the ejection was silly. I think this is true in college football as well, where sometimes a personal foul needs to be assessed. Like, hey, you hit the guy in the head, right? Now, you didn't mean to do it, so we're not going to throw you out, but you hit the guy in the head, right? But in college football, it's like, no, if you hit the guy in the head, we're going to throw you out, and we're not going to try to judge intent.
Right.
I don't think it was a dirty play. He's just that much shorter than Drake Kaufman-Renn, and he stuck his hips out a little bit, trying to bend the rules of a legal screen, and he got tagged. So, okay, assess him with a flagrant one and move on. It's this high-leverage, nationally broadcasted, big-time Big Ten matchup, and we're going to throw, the sixth man for the Badgers out of the game, which, I don't know, was dumb. But it certainly focused the Badgers, multiple players, and Greg Gard talked about that after the game, got them really fired up and dialed in, and I think that was apparent in the results, because right after the ejection, they were down 9, and then they closed the first half on like a 10-1 run, and then the second half, they score almost 60 points. So I guess all is well that ends well.
Yeah, and moving up to number 11, they have unranked Illinois tonight. 6 games left in the regular season. I think they only have one ranked opponent before they wrap things up and move on to the Big Ten tournament. Do you see them winning the Big Ten tournament, or is there too much competition at the top?
Well, the tournament, so I don't know. You never know with the conference tournament. I didn't think Wisconsin had much of a chance last year, and they came within a couple shots from beating Illinois and winning the thing. So the conference tournament, you never know. I'm more excited about their prospects of a regular season title because I think Michigan has peaked and they've won some really close games. Not to say they're not good, but I think Michigan has peaked. Michigan State is just about to embark on the toughest part of their schedule. They haven't really played the meat and potatoes of their Big Ten ledger yet. Wisconsin plays them. That's in East Lansing. That's at the Breslin Center, so that'll be a challenge. But that's, I think, Wisconsin's toughest, most remaining game. If they can get through Illinois tonight, who's without Perez Johnson, their big-time rebounder, guys like that always give Wisconsin fits. If they can win tonight, Wisconsin's favored. They just have to get through the rest of their schedule, which is a lot of Oregon, Washington, Minnesota, Penn State, kind of the middle to bottom of the conference, and a trip to Michigan State. But they just won in Mackey, beating Purdue. They haven't done that since Johnny Davis did a couple of years ago, kind of single-handedly. So, no, I feel great. The tournament's a crapshoot, but I feel great about their chances at least making the Big Ten regular season title very interesting down the stretch.
Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, heard on WKTY in La Crosse and 105.1 Sports Talk in Eau Claire. And let's go back to the Bucks here. Obviously off for the All-Star break. Giannis rehabbing that calf. Dame Lillard losing to some 18-year-old kid. But who cares about that, really? As they get back to the regular season without Chris Middleton now, where do you see the Bucks going? Are they going to be a contender in the East, or is it over?
Well, contender in the East is, I think it's Boston, clearly by themselves. And then Cleveland, and maybe New York slightly behind Cleveland, and then I'm not really sure. And I think if the Bucks are healthy and Kyle Kuzma can bring a little bit of youth and availability onto the team, I think as a third option it could work. And you could talk yourself into, well, the Bucks in any playoff series or in any matchup could have the first and maybe the second best player in that game or in that series, depending on how Dame plays. But with Giannis, I still feel pretty confident that when he's right, he's the best player in at least any Eastern Conference series. I don't know about the West, but I still like him more than Tatum or Brunson or whoever the Knicks have to offer. And that's nothing against Tatum. He's just not Giannis when Giannis is right. I think that the deadline and these last couple of weeks have been, about trying to give the team the best chance in the here and now, but also set themselves up for the offseason, kind of clearing out some bad contracts, bringing in a tradable contract, right? Getting below the second apron of the luxury tax so they can now aggregate contracts and say, I don't care, it's all boring stuff. But they did kind of set themselves up better for the offseason. I think in the meantime, they could make it interesting in the East. That's about as enthusiastic as I am, but I'll take it considering, some of our other opinions about this team throughout this season.
Moving on to baseball, the pitchers and catchers reported late last week, and now today is the first full day, I believe, of workouts for the Brew Crew at spring training. When do the games start, and are you going to Arizona this year to broadcast?
I'm not going to Arizona this year because There's just too much going on between the Super Bowl, and then I have to go to Mexico for a wedding, and then we have a trip to Iceland in April.
Whoa.
That kind of came in. There's just too much. There's too much going on. I'm not even going to the Combine. Bill's going to the Combine, the NFL Combine next week, and I had to tell him, like, I can't. So I wish I was going to Arizona. Don't get me wrong. The games start, what is it, this weekend or next weekend?
I think it's this weekend.
It's this weekend. I think it's a little early. I've been paying attention just because I'm not going down there.
Right.
I'm just excited to get players and coaches talking with reporters every day again, because that gives me content. And that can kind of help us figure out what this team might look like even before the game starts. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Are we picking you up for opening day, or are you still playing hard to get?
If you are genuine about wanting to pick me up, I would go with you guys. I would have to probably do some sort of broadcast from the ballpark because my show is on. Although I've done it before. I'm doing my show from the Kohl's Center tonight from 4 to 6 leading into Wisconsin, Illinois. So it has been done. I can do it. I just don't know if going to a baseball game with you and then needing to go on the radio, I don't know if that's a winning combination.
Well, I will be drinking, so there will be a lot of content coming out of my mouth.
Well, that's the thing. I know you'll be drinking. I will want to drink, and then I have to do a radio show. That gets a little
ever.
difficult.
Best show ever. Me and you drunk boys talking on the radio.
From
Book
the
it.
from
the Brewers home opener.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a show. Are you going to be on Bill Michaels' new TV show, or what's your responsibilities for that? I just saw that get announced the other day.
To produce and aggregate Bill's best segments for presentation on TV. That's my job. I'm the behind-the-scenes man. I'm the duck sitting on top of the water that makes it look so easy all the time, but underneath I'm furiously kicking. That's my job. To better answer your question, we have a meeting about that tomorrow, so I can give you a give you a better answer next week.
Well, congrats.
But it's just the best segments of the week. That's what it is. So we take his best interviews or his best rants, and then it goes in the show at the end of the week.
Yeah, well, congratulations to him and to you for, I guess, what's you'd consider a promotion, right?
Yeah, branching into a new medium there. That's great.
Well, you guys know that I have my feet in lots of different camps. Television is just one of them. Radio, of course, another. So I try to spread far and wide, yes.
Those little duck feet.
Little duck feet, so busy. Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, heard afternoons from 4 until 6 on WKTY in La Crosse and Sports Talk 105.1 in Eau Claire.
Can you flush for us? Is there
a flusher? Got a flush?
Can you flush?
Oh, it's kind of a weak toilet. There you go.
You really are in the bathroom.
Yeah, he is in the pooper. Grant, how was your Valentine's Day? Did we get a ring on the finger? Did we take her to dinner? What do we do? Did we have some magic happen?
No ring. Necklace, yes. I got some jewelry when I was in New Orleans. No ring. And we had a night around the corner from us. Had some cocktails, had some dessert, and that was that. It was very nice. It wasn't anything extravagant, but it was very nice, Simpson. Thank you for asking.
But he's still getting the milk for free. Doesn't want to buy that cow.
That's all right. He's in love. It's young love. It's wonderful. Well, Grant, we always appreciate you joining us and talking about that. Can you open up the door and walk out and say, I didn't wash my hands in there?
I think I lost you, Simpson.
Thanks, Grant.
All right. Grant Bills, host of the Wisco Sports Show, joining us each and every Tuesday morning.
Live from a bathroom at a car repair shop. Is that right?
He's getting what did he say? He's getting a
tire adjustment.
Something in his tire?
Yeah.
A bearing. I think he said a bearing in his tire. All right. Wisco Sports Show, again, you can hear it on WKTY in La Crosse and 105.1 Sports Talk in Eau Claire. Grant Bills, always a pleasure.
I like that guy.
He does not want to be around me broadcasting while we're drinking at a Brewer game.
He absolutely doesn't. I do like that kid, though.
We've got music in a bit from Breaking Benjamin. And, of course, Bad News Happy Music is coming up as well. If you want to get in touch with us, find all of our stuff online at rockmornings.com.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Find the daily podcast at rockmornings.com.
To enter a beautiful, exciting, wonderful new world.
A cockroach living in your nostril.
Now that's just nasty.
Add in some Haven't pooped for 30 days.
Poop is raining from the ceilings. Poop.
And sprinkle in some hashtag Florida Man for flavor.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man.
Florida man quits his Burger King job, steals all of their chicken nuggets.
It's bad news.
Bad news.
With happy music.
Let's rock.
Lego sets.
Yeah, they're very cool, very expensive.
Extremely expensive.
Very
Especially
cool,
some of
though.
the rare and retired ones. And there's a whole black market for those Lego sets. A place called Sasquatch Bricks in Washington State was robbed after a couple of thieves backed a U-Haul truck into the store. A little smash and grab made away with about $10,000 worth of Lego sets.
About $10,000 worth of Lego. A lot of high-end retired collectible sets. I think they were literally in here under 5 minutes, but we're pretty sure that they had been in the store before, looked how easy it was to probably take these particular items. This hasn't been an unusual thing in the Lego community for the last few years. There have been smash and grabs, Targets, Walmarts. All the big box stores that now have all their Lego locked up.
So they probably got like one or two sets.
I was just going to say $10,000. It's like,
But they were obviously in there, according to Scott Nelson, the owner of the store, Sasquatch Bricks in University Place, Washington. Thinks that they were in there casing the joint because they weren't in there very long. They went after the stuff they knew about and smashed through the front glass window with a big old U-Haul truck and then jumped in and grabbed what they wanted and made off with all the Lego sets. Nelson
wow.
says there's been smash and grabs. Targets, Walmarts, all the big box stores have all their Legos locked up. Everything is not awesome when your store is getting robbed. The police in University Place, Washington, studying a video from someone who lives above the store who recorded the burglary.
I was just going to say, don't they have the people on video somewhere? You can't just drive a U-Haul through a building.
But as of right now, no one has been arrested. Nelson putting the word out to other stores as well that sell collectible Lego sets to be on the lookout for someone trying to offload the sets that he had stolen. Says it guts our customers. Our customers are really upset about it. Lego thieves.
They're expensive.
Yes,
There's
they
a
are.
market for them.
Hashtag Florida man. Hashtag shirtless Florida man. Hashtag shirtless Florida man steals patrol car, carjacks woman in wild chase.
He carjacked a woman in a
So he
police car?
stole a cop car, and then he carjacked a woman who pulled over thinking she was getting pulled over by the cops.
Yeah.
He was apparently wanted for attempted murder. And he's like, I ain't going out like that. Dramatic police dash cam and body cam video showing a wild chase in South Florida. This is in Monroe County. Police say an attempted murder suspect stole a deputy's cruiser and pulled over and carjacked the driver before crashing and then being arrested. Officer in the video running after the suspect.
He just stole my patrol car. He's running northbound. Lights are on. He tried to take my gun from my holster. Show me your hands! Show me your hands!
Dashcam video shows him driving erratically through a neighborhood before pulling over the unsuspecting driver of a red SUV who likely thinks that a cop.
Oh, I'm sure.
is pulling over at first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pulling over. There's a cop behind me. I can't imagine that guy would be driving any way but erratically.
The
You know
officer
what I mean?
said.
Like,
The officer said in the video, one of the videos, the officer says he's at about 100 miles an hour, so he was really going after it. Deputies hot on his tail. He ended up crashing, rolling the vehicle. He was upside down. The driver, identified as Armando Lopez, wanted for trying to kill his ex at her home earlier in the day.
Oh boy.
A sergeant had arrived in minutes, finding the woman's body badly injured. According to an affidavit, Lopez continues his tirade on the sergeant. The woman seen running. Lopez then stole the patrol car. Deputies say he was resistant even when he was being taken into custody. Go figure.
I don't think he's going to be.
That hashtag shirtless Florida man is now behind bars where he belongs.
Cops is filmed on location with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law.
Yeah. Florida man.
Erratic.
Colorado. Couple of guys.
Yeah.
Trying to get some contraband into jail. All sorts of different ways that we've seen people do this. Birds.
They swallowed it. They put
drones up the butt.
Balloons. They swallowed the balloons.
These guys went a little more low tech. 19-year-old, 18-year-old men caught attempting to smuggle $200,000 worth of contraband.
Not just what they're going to need tomorrow.
Into a federal prison in Louisiana using a cannon.
Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like dropping it over the wall?
Not a trebuchet, a cannon. They plan to shoot. This is great. They plan to shoot about $112,000 worth of tobacco and another $90,000 worth of meth over a security fence and onto the prison grounds. Unclear if they were caught in the act or if officials caught wind of it ahead of time, how it all transpired necessarily. Don't even know what the cannon looked like at this point.
I wanted to see their cannon.
But apparently it had a range of 350 feet. So they could have been, a couple of businesses over, maybe a couple streets over. And what, in the middle of
Well, maybe this is outside. Maybe
maybe in the middle of recess when all the prisoners are out there.
Well,
these guys
are certain people that are going to grab it and stow it or something.
Yeah. Both men arrested. One of them is in the country illegally, by the way. But yeah, attempting to smuggle up $200,000 worth of meth and cigarettes into the jail. Shoot him over the security fence. 18-year-old Jose Francisco Herrera Munoz and 19-year-old Angel Gonzalez Gutierrez, both of Colorado, arrested for attempting to introduce contraband into a penal institution and attempting to distribute methamphetamine.
Oh, it's compressed air cannon.
So like a T-shirt gun.
Yeah, there you go, like a T-shirt gun.
Yeah, I don't think it was a old school artillery style cannon.
Wheeling it out there.
But still,
Monty Python.
Haven't seen that one yet. We've seen drones and birds and all sorts of other ways.
But a compressed air cannon, shooting it across the wall, and then they hide it quick, I guess.
Last but not least, drunk driver. I think this is in Australia. So I don't know what their legal limits are, but the headline on the story is too good to be true.
Okay.
Drunk driver nearly 9 times the legal alcohol limit was asleep with the engine running, which sounds about right for 9 times the limit. An alleged drunk driver returned an alcohol reading of 0.434. A figure described by South Australian police officers as the highest she has heard in my almost 17 years of being a police officer.
Now, you and I had a story not too long ago. It was that guy, wasn't he in Florida where it was 5 point something?
Well,
remember,
no, you can't be on the plus side of the point. You got to be.
But it was like 5.
All right, so what did I say? 0.434?
It was 0.5 though.
Divide that by 9.
Yeah.
So 0.04 is there. So they're half. But still. So instead of 0.08 or 0.8 or 0.08, which we have here in America, they've got 0.04. So they're like half, apparently. 41-year-old woman allegedly found asleep at the wheel of a car at a service station. Police were called to the convenience store after a witness reported seeing the woman sleeping inside with the engine still running. Woman was breath tested, allegedly returned a reading almost 9 times the legal limit. She provided an unbelievably high reading of 0.434, senior constable Kate Dawson said. It was actually the highest reading I've heard of in my almost 17-year career. I almost need to speak to some type of health person for some advice on that. 12-month immediate loss of license. Car will remain impounded for 28 days. Police said she would be summoned to appear in court at a later date. 9 times, Gene.
I'm not that intoxicated.
Breath test says otherwise. 9 times. So 0.08 times 9. That'd be 0.72 in America.
Ugh.
And what do we have? We said it was like a 0.5?
I remember this guy not too long ago because you and I were both like, whoa, that's like crazy. He should have not been alive. He should have been having trouble breathing.
0.434. 9 times. In Australia. Bad news, happy music. On Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene, we'll get to our check-ins after Pearl Jam.
Rock Mornings with Brian and Gene. Weekdays, 6 to 9. Call.
Hello?
Email.
I tried emailing you.
Text. So many ways to check in with us.
Check.
We rely on you guys for traffic updates, requests, and all sorts of other stuff.
Check this out.
Hit up the website, rockmornings.com, for all of our contact info and get in touch with us during the show. You can also listen to the show live on the website. Like and subscribe to our daily podcast. Register to win prizes, including Workforce Wednesday, which is tomorrow.
That's right. Free gift certificate to go enjoy yourself.
Talking about words that we have trouble spelling.
Apparently, I have a number of them. After further review.
I was trying to make it worse. Pam texted in and said that vacuum only has one C, and I said, I know, I'm trying to make it worse for Gene by...
Like making me convinced it has two of two each? Doubles? Yeah. That's the problem. I never know which... 2 of 1, 2, which one's 2, is it 2 C's, 2 U's? Doubles?
Pam said, you're bad, I should have known. Jake said, alcohol and awkward. I hope there's other people out there that cannot spell those. I sent him a link to the Ask Reddit thread, and alcohol is on there, and he was very happy to see that. Thank you, Jake. Also got a text just a little while ago from Corbin. Said, raise hell and praise Dale. Hell yeah, brother. Talking about Dale Earnhardt Sr. passed away on this day. And Mississippi is what gets Bill. Has a little trouble.
Mississippi.
Again, song. Some little number, a little ditty. Ryan said, I learned how to spell in the early 90s. They taught us how to spell by the way it sounds. So I'm screwed on life for spelling, but reading I have no problems with. Chris also suggesting about dessert and desert, which one has an S and which one has 2 S's. Said he learned the difference between desert and dessert by saying there's 2 S's in dessert as you want double scoops of ice cream. And you said something about 2 C's.
2 C's in ice cream. That's how I know that one.
It means 2 S's in dessert.
It means 2 S's in dessert.
All right. And then Jason suggested time, as in time seasoning. And now you're stuck on that.
I got that one with rhythm. Now I'm good.
Okay.
Maybe.
Thank you again for all the texts. Tisha, who wanted to hear some Drowning Pool earlier, we did that. Our buddy Jim, who's going to be flying home. 15-hour flight from Kuwait to America.
Travels so safely.
Very concerned after hearing the story about the plane that ended up on its top somehow yesterday.
It sure did. Flipped right over in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Have a great rest of your day. We will talk to you tomorrow. Be safe. It's going to be very cold out there today.